Welcome back, dear learners, from the ad break. Before the ad break, we were able to prepare the general journal. We corrected some errors, and we were also able to record donations as well as drawings. With me here, I have an application question. Let us see what it wants us to do. It says we've donated stationery, and then there is a fixed deposit with matured, but then it was incorrectly recorded. This question wants us to record the correction of these errors or the effect of such errors on the accounting equation. Let us quickly see how we can do that. Number one, it says donated stationery, and the stationery is for 450 to New Hope Crash. We'll come here. We need to know the account to debit. Once we have made a donation, we'll debit donations, which is an expense. So we'll come here. It is donations. Remember, donations are an expense. That means they will affect my owner's equity. In what way will they affect? They will decrease my owner's equity. Therefore, expenses will decrease my owner's equity. So I'll come here and I will say minus 450. What is it that we donated? We donated stationery. That means the account to be credited in this case is stationery. I'll come here and then I have my stationery. Stationery is also an expense. Stationery is also an expense. And once we are crediting an expense account, that means we're decreasing that particular expense. And expenses affect owner's equity. An increase in expenses decreases owner's equity. But a decrease in expenses will then increase our owner's equity. That means I'm still coming to my owner's equity. I'm now going to have a plus 450. Let's quickly go and see the next one. It says, an amount of 14,400 was received from ER Bank for the following. Repayment of fixed deposit, which is matured, 13, and then the interest is 1,400. However, the full amount was credited to the fixed deposit account, and we know that this is an error which must be corrected. To correct the error, we will debit our fixed deposit account, which was credited in error. So we'll debit our fixed deposit. Remember, fixed deposit is an asset. So once you debit your fixed deposit, we're coming now to our assets and say plus 1,400. And then the account to be credited becomes your interest. This is interest on fixed deposit. This is an income now. This is income. And once we are recording income, we will come to our owner's equity. And in our owner's equity, we will say plus 1,400. Let's come to the third one. It reads, the broken window of the building were replaced at a cost of 6,500. The bookkeeper entered this amount into land and buildings, and this was an error that requires to correct this particular error. To do that, I'm going to come here and I'm going to record the third one. Which account do I debit? We are having repairs in this case that should have been debited, but we debited land and buildings. So let us start by debiting the right account that should have been debited. That is your repairs. Repairs are an expense. It is going to affect my owner's equity, decreasing it by 6,500. And then they had debited land and buildings. So let us now go and correct that particular error. That means we will now credit our land and buildings. So I'll come here and say land and buildings. Land and buildings is an asset. That means my assets are going to decrease. The moment you credit an asset, you are decreasing it, minus 6,500. Let's see if we have more transactions to record in the accounting equation. It says, the owner took goods for personal use. The selling price is 600 and the cost price is 400. Whenever you are recording drawings, we must record them on cost. I will then come here and I'm now saying, which account do I debit? I debit drawings. I'll debit drawings. And once I debit drawings, remember my owner's equity is affected by drawings. Drawings decrease my owner's equity. So I'm coming here now to say minus 400. Drawings decreases my owner's equity. And then what did he take for personal use? This is goods. So we're talking trading stock. The account to be credited therefore becomes my trading stock. Once my trading stock, which is an asset, is credited, it means we are decreasing it. That means I'm coming now to my asset and I'm decreasing it by 400. Is there any effect on my liabilities? Definitely no effect on my liabilities. Let's look at the fifth one. And it says, goods sold on credit, 140, as per invoice 445 to L Lion was charged to the account of L Leon. So here the error is within the names. Within the names. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come here and I will now say, if the goods are sold on credit, 140 as per invoice to L Lion, which account was I supposed to debit? It should have been L Lion. And then once I debit L Lion, which is a debtor, I would then come here and say plus how much? 140. Then the next one is to correct the error that we did to L Leon. So the account to be credited becomes L Leon. Remember, L Leon is also a debtor. That means we have to come and subtract on my assets. Why am I subtracting? The moment you credit an asset, you're decreasing it. So hence you see there is a minus. Is there any effect on my accounting equation? Definitely not. Liabilities, there will not be an effect. We will now look at number 6, and it reads, goods returned to AB traders and recorded in the CAJ for 400 was incorrectly debited against the account of AB wholesalers. So these are returns to our creditors and they were recorded correctly in the CAJ and it's 400. But it was incorrectly debited against the account of AB wholesalers. That is the mistake. When we come here now, number 6, we now need to know which account are we going to debit. The correct account to be debited is AB traders. AB traders. AB traders, remember, these are our liabilities, our creditors. Once we debit them, it's going to decrease our liabilities. So I'm coming here to say minus how much? The amount that was recorded is 400 minus 400. And now to correct the error that was done, they had debited it against AB wholesalers. So once you debit it against AB wholesalers, to correct it, you credit it. So we come here, it's AB wholesalers. AB wholesalers. And then this is also our liability. So I'm coming here, once you credit a liability, you are increasing it, plus 400. So you have a plus and a minus 400 in this case. No effect on your assets as well as no effect on your owner's equity and liabilities. We will now do number 7. And the transaction reads, the total of the wages column in the CPJ of 2,500 was incorrectly posted to the salaries account. Remember, these are wages. So the right thing that was supposed to happen on number 7 was we were supposed to debit our wages, and once you debit your wages, which is an expense, it increases. It decreases actually your owner's equity. So I would have my owner's equity minus 2.5. Once you have an expense being debited, it decreases your owner's equity. And what had happened, we had debited salaries. And to correct that, we now need to credit our salaries. So once we're crediting our salaries, remember this is an expense. Once you credit your salaries, which is an expense, you are decreasing an expense, thereby you are increasing your owner's equity, plus 2,500. There will be no effect on liabilities and no effect on your assets. Let us go for an ad break. See you shortly.